Good for them.
Work it out.
Good for them. Oh, we're live. All right.
Whoa.
Who wants to talk us in?
Hi, everybody. Welcome. This is a live show. It's happening right now called Knights of Prospect. And it says Leven Stevenson at the bottom of my screen because that's the character I'll be playing. Me in real life, now that's Kaylee Kane, my name. But my character, Leven, is a human mud boy who's been trapped inside an elf ranger named Vil, who sacrificed herself what feels like very long ago. Who else would like to introduce themselves?
So I am the dwarven former legionary shitbird, known as Gregory to the human-tongued. Ryan Daly is my name in human life. And the character's been the same the whole time in the same body. Much to his delight, he would not go for any of those kind of magic shenanigans like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so my name in real world space is Kylie Rolinstick. My name within the game sphere, it is Jelly. I am an 11-year-old human thief. I am sneaky. I am mischievous. I've got an insatiable appetite for adventure and for food. So I'm just I have access to the underbelly of society. Love to thieve, and I'm here to get into some scraps.
And I am Winnie. I am and my human name is Samantha Levangie. Winnie is an elven bard who maybe like a little too full of herself, but accomplishes things nonetheless. So.
And I am John Serpico, but for sake of this, I'm the game master. It's my job to give Gregory, Jelly, Leven, and Winnie stuff to do every week as they continue their quest to join the fabled Knights of Prospect, the group of brave adventurers that live in this gorgeous chapter house outside of Tower Town and rid the Riverlands of evil. So, one thing that I've found very interesting in the previous episodes, I think this is episode 22. So we've been doing this weekly for about half a year. You're all these great adventurers that are trying to join this really august group of adventurers. And, you're building up your reputation to do so. And the funny thing is, like, the good you're doing definitely outpaces, like, the vague evil you're doing. But, like, it's not always, like, 100% good and 0% evil. Like, there's always, like, a smattering of stuff that is questionable that you do. And that's what makes it so fun.
Well, Chauncey's not here today, so we might have a higher chance of doing less evil.
Yeah, I don't want to speak in so absolute a term that everybody is doing evil, but like the fact that Kaylee is now playing Leven instead of Vil, was a result of kind of an interesting series of events that maybe historians might say there was a Susan of evil too.
Maybe a Susan, but I would
well-intentioned evil.
Yeah, I would say there was more an element of unbridled chaos than evil.
Yeah, like the ends justified the means in the moment, and then it spiraled.
Yeah, it was good intentions and just absolute chaos.
Oh, the road to hell and all that.
All right.
So we had a week off. There was 2 weeks between episode 21 and this episode 22. So just to refresh our memories and the memories of the audience here, what have you all been up to over the last couple of sessions?
Sure. Well, the last time we saw Winnie, she had been kidnapped and secreted onto a boat, which she had to escape by helping someone punch a kraken effectively in the face and then getting the boat back to Tower Town. Small potatoes.
Small potatoes. Yeah, it's the machinations of Ronaldo, who's not with us this week. Machinations of his family apparently led to Winnie and some others in your company kind of getting inadvertently kidnapped due to essentially a really big and growing family spat between father and son. The week before that, you all had to go on a bit of an adventure to the mountains of Marinth, which
yes.
led to you getting deep into the heart of the mountain and discovering some strange stuff down there.
Yeah, some mysterious stuff too. I don't think we uncovered a ring, and I think still don't quite know what is up with that.
Yes,
ring,
Hazel
right?
uncovered a ring, and well, the characters don't know, but we saw that there is it awakened a brass war golem.
Yes.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is when we as players know more than our characters do.
Yeah.
So you all
right.
as players know that Hazel Pippet has a ring that can control a 20-foot tall metal siege golem.
Mm-hmm.
But you all are just like, oh, we got a ring. Let's see what that does.
Last time we got a staff, and we just saw what that did, and that went well.
And as Hazel said in the StreamYard chat, you also, when you were in the mountains of Marinth, met a deep elf, a deep elf wizard or sorcerer or war leader.
Yeah.
Named Yava, and Levin and Yava got into something of like a battle of wits, a battle of witty repartee, a bit of a tiff that ended up informing Yava of who Levin is and what he's all about.
Yeah.
So there's plenty that we got on the back burner, and maybe some of that moves to the front burner today. So let's get started here. Gregory, Jelly, Levin, and Winnie. The Knights of Prospect, the group that you hope to join fairly soon, have a famous healer in their number. This is a healer we haven't met yet. We know several of the other famed Knights of Prospect, but we haven't yet in-game met their healer. So I want someone to name the healer, and the other three to kind of describe the healer and give the healer some color.
So the healer's name is Gouda Time, and she is she's very welcoming and very like you walk into a room with her and you automatically feel warm.
Yeah, and she has a flowing cloak that has it's like an iridescent golden thread, and it does radiate a certain heat. It's almost like the gold is like very small, like amount of fire, evenly spread, thinly.
Yeah, and you all know me. I always notice the smell, and something that I've been noticing is she smells amazing. She smells like some kind of holiday morning, kind of warm baking, like kind of wild cinnamon.
The Gouda is I respect Gouda because she's less of a simple magician and more of a studied herbalist. She has an excellent command of the healing properties of basically every plant available, fungus, animal parts, others, non-animal parts. Something I respect deeply.
Yeah. So Gouda Times real name or rather extended dwarven name is many, many, many syllables. And so for sake of ease of pronunciation, she usually just shortens it to Gouda. And, she is, in terms of, what the Knights of Prospect do and what they've done for the Riverlands. I mean, the tales echo through the generations, but what Gouda does is so very immediate. Gouda doesn't necessarily go out on these big, sweeping, grand adventures. She generally stays in Tower Town, kind of moving from hospital to hospital, dispensing, kind of herbal remedies and poultices, sage advice on healing techniques. Yeah. She does almost all of this as Gregory said, as an herbalist, though you think, at least based on kind of the legends, that the specific flavor of ancestor worship that she engages in gives her some degree of kind of semi-magical healing. So, Gouda is, as you all mentioned, just this incredibly warm, incredibly welcoming person. And she actually requested the four of you by name to accompany her as honor guard. She
requested Leven Stevenson?
She did, specifically because, Leven, you're essentially famous when you kind of woke up from the dead, or the kind of that vague purgatory. Life. You were, in essence, born into the body of a famed ranger. And so everyone in Tower Town knows you simultaneously as, kind of the artist formerly known as Vil, and also, Leven Stevenson, the man who defied death and came back. So, so Gouda requested kind of all of you because, she doesn't leave Tower Town that much, but she needs to, because several shipments of medical herbs and ingredients from an elven enclave to the south, kind of on like the Vorish Orcish border, have stopped. So, a lot of Gouda's, impact in Tower Town and impact in the Riverland is contingent with getting these kind of very exotic herbs grown all in various locations. And this elven enclave, one of her biggest suppliers of certain things, have not come in for a couple of weeks. And so Gouda is kind of making a trip down there, and requested you all to join her as the full Knights of Prospect are kind of scattered doing various other things. So, Winnie, you know of this enclave because it's fairly close to where you grew up. You're originally from the South, I believe. Or at least your aunt is, I think. But this elven enclave, what is it called?
Oh, it's Buyer's Remorse.
Buyer's Remorse.
There's a lot of trade that goes on there, and remorse is their term for a dip in the earth that is unexplained by natural causes.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting kind of elven enclave that you're approaching, because it's, generally, a lot of elven enclaves are kind of tucked up into woodlands, on kind of hillsides or mountain ranges. The biggest elven city in all of the Riverland, that's actually beyond the Riverlands, on this entire continent is Sentinel, and that's hundreds of miles away, and that's the biggest, most beautiful city probably in the world. But this, so, elven enclaves kind of have a certain flavor to them. This one's very different. This is almost like not necessarily a rough and tumble town, but definitely like kind of this sprawling trade town that isn't full of beautiful, winding elven buildings. It's a lot of like squat structures spaced far apart because everything is traded in the streets. So it's, really sits in this like non-defensible depression, which, considering it's essentially a border town in a war zone, you would think it's unsafe, but like most elven enclaves, there's kind of this aura of safety around it. So, you're all heading down there, and, it's been several days of travel through the Riverlands, heading south through the Dominion of Vor, and eventually heading up into the hilly terrain where Buyer's Remorse is. And so this is all, kind of Vorish land. So it's, populous and nice, good farming and taverns every couple of hours on the main roads. And you're all sitting in a tavern, with Gouda, because the next morning you're going to wake up and make the rest of the way into Buyer's Remorse. So you're in a tavern. There are plenty of, kind of Vorish soldiers in here that are, drinking their own leave from the war. And, the food is good and it is warm, and they are taking care of Hobie, the duck that follows you around, that was Vil's partner, but is now all of your kind of collective friend. And it's just like a nice kind of comfortable bar full of Vorish soldiers, all of them. And I mean, every single one of them at some point over the evening comes up to you, Gregory, and kind of gives you a nod or a salute, or, occasionally someone knew someone that you knew, and you would have kind of a conversation. So you're something of a slightly more than minor celebrity down here. But
I
Gouda,
salute them all back.
Yeah. I'm a minor celebrity because I'm 11.
that is very true. So, all of you are there, and Gouda is insistent on kind of buying the meals and paying for your stay in the place. So you're sitting in kind of the middle of the room at a big circular table. There's, a roast and a bunch of vegetables and all good hearty Vorish fare. And so, Gouda's looking at all of you, and, after kind of a beat, says, "These past several days have been very enjoyable for me, traveling in your company."
Same. I feel very similarly. I don't think I've ever ate better during a long journey.
I always eat so much, and this has been no exception. So thank you.
Every tavern over has, I'm sure, is going to pay for more supplies, because, we came through and you ate them out of house and home. Supporting the local economy everywhere we go.
Yes, well, just like, as you know, I conquered death, I also conquered all that turkey.
Yes, you so consistently remind us.
Two fights of equal challenge, it seems.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I should be telling you this or not. I probably should. Well, if you don't know yet, next week the rest of the knights are going to make the decision about you.
What?
They're going to want to hear, Winnie, your epic bardic song of your friends and yourself, and all of us are going to sit down and have a vote. And that's going to be next week. I don't know if anyone sent you a letter or anything like that. That's not really up to me to make those decisions, but...
No letter, but I have been preparing for many months now, and the songs are coming together very nicely, if I do say so myself. So I am thrilled to present to all of you my work.
Just her?
Well, Winnie has been commissioned to write a song detailing your exploits as heroes, as essentially, I don't want to call it a resume, that would be demeaning to both Winnie as an artist and to our process, but since you have a pair of bards amongst you, and since your tales are already so famous, it only makes sense for us to hear of them one last time before we close the doors of our chapter house at Tama and decide if we should expand our number or not to include all of you.
Oh.
So it's like an audible, it's like a tapestry of vignettes of accomplishments, but it's not a resume.
I think that's the thick and thin of it, yes. Did I make you all nervous?
Nah.
Is this the official invite here to what would you say, apply? Or should you not be telling us this?
Gregory, roll 2d6 plus your wisdom.
Well then, what is my wisdom? Probably not great. Yeah, well, an 8 then.
Okay, so that's a partial success. That's enough to kind of get the read here. This is your official invitation to, formally apply. The sense you got, and you could, you think you can read her because, Gouda's another dwarf. Gouda is not generally good with lying, but in essence, she almost wanted to make it seem like she was sneaking you some insider information. But in actuality, this is it. This is her saying that your deeds have risen to the level of official notice of the Knights of Prospect, and that you need to, in essence, get your affairs in order between now and next week when you officially present yourself at the chapter house and kind of make your case before the assembled heroes.
I don't even know what my affairs are.
Well, Levin, if I may, you inhabit the body of, well, it's your body, but its prior inhabitant was a hero of the Riverlands whose life and deeds impacted positively many, many people. You now are the steward of this great tradition. And in your relatively short time here, you've already demonstrated great camaraderie with these other kind of boon companions of yours.
As well as a blatant disregard for that body which you inhabit.
Well, I'm still learning to use it. This morning I tripped over a toadstool.
I saw that.
Jelly saw. Jelly laughed.
It was funny.
It was.
Sounds funny. I'm sure we're all going to be perfectly prepared.
Well, that is certainly the hope. Again, I don't mean to make you nervous. I just wanted to let you know that there may be something formal waiting for us in the mail upon our return.
All right.
So now that we're close enough, I should probably let you know what we're going to do when we get there. The shipments that Etama and Tower Town and really me personally have been receiving come from someone named the Silent Gatherer. That's the, I don't want to say business partner, but that's the person, that the trader specifically, that is responsible for sending me the shipments that we use in the various hospitals and houses of healing in Tower Town. So I'm going to check on her safety, and you'll all come with me, of course. But aside from that, we have to play it by ear, I suppose. The shipments have been coming steadily for years now, and now they're not.
How far to the does this sort of ominous forager? How close do they get to Orc country?
Often, which is, I think, how this forager got his or her name. I frankly don't know much about the Silent Gatherer, aside from the fact that they travel. They have a pack of foragers, hunters, rangers that forage in Vor, forage in the Orcish lands, take to sea. They have excellent divers that harvest the bottom of the Bay of Enteresh. It's the fact that she or he or they can do it all has been a tremendous help to me, and by extension Tower Town. The less time I spend foraging, the more time that I and my compatriots, and hopefully soon your compatriots, can spend doing the good works.
Well, they might be kind of hard to find if they're so silent.
Yeah, they sound slippery. Sound pretty sneaky.
Well, the Silent Gatherer and their company have been certainly fine business partners in all of this. So hopefully the silence doesn't extend to us trying to find them.
Right.
I'm sure an enterprising lad such as yourself, Jelly, would be able to plumb your resources.
Yes.
Find this. And if we run into any orcs, well, I'm happy to take a bit of a nostalgia trip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Silence. Something doesn't need to make noise to be found. You just have to be able to see it. That's something
It's
I
very profound, Jelly.
Alternative perspective, even if you can't hear it, doesn't mean it's not making noise.
Ah.
Also very profound.
And my perspective, which is if it's making noise, if you can see it, you still gotta listen. And when you see it, that's when you know that you're looking at it.
I have nothing to add to the string of metaphors.
Fair.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to, chat with Gouda or anyone in here about, or is there anything anybody wants to do in this particular Frontier Tavern before we move along to Buyer's Remorse?
Well, I could tap into the underworld here, see if I can put some feelers out. I don't know if that could be a source of information for us in our pursuit.
It definitely can, and we'll get to that. But Winnie, did I see you thinking yourself into action?
Is there live music playing anywhere?
There is not at this moment.
Oh, well. I am in a new town. Haven't been here in a while. Maybe I could be convinced. Oh, please don't you all jump at once to push me on stage. But
what's happening what's going on?
Oh, Levin, you want to come up with me? Oh, you haven't been around for one of these. Why don't you come on up?
What's happening right
Help
now?
me out.
Are you
Join
gonna
her,
do
Levin. You'll have fun.
We'll do a duet.
Are you gonna do a magic trick?
Levin, what is your favorite song? I bet you I know it.
I should warn you up top. I always pick the 3 of spades. Wait, what did you say?
3 of spades. I haven't sang that one in a very long time. It's
You
a bit
sing?
avant-garde, but I'm happy to sing it. Would you join me as I sing the 3 of spades?
Yeah, yes.
So,
I would like-
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, I would like this song to give courage to those who hear it.
Absolutely. So you're going to use your bardic arts to instill into these, soldiers on leave a great courage and resolve. Sure. So let's sing first and then roll.
Sure.
You are quickly, essentially, it's one of those things where this tavern's fairly informal. You're not announced, but you kind of look at the bartender, and the bartender kind of nods and gestures, and you walk up onto this low stage, and the countenance that kind of Winnie exudes when she walks on stage is fairly arresting. Like you all know Winnie, and you all travel together, and all of you are, interesting, powerful people in your own right. But when Winnie or Ronaldo kind of gets onto a stage, there's something about kind of their aura that almost instinctually hushes the audience.
That's wild.
Yeah, so Levin, you instinctually just feel eyes on you. And there's this, like, you could almost feel tension and anticipation in the room. And this is a room full of men and women wearing like boorish military tabards, swords caked with kind of caked with dirt, and with great legends etched into them, or like leaning against walls. And so the intimidating nature of the room is leaving kind of hitting you a little bit.
Yeah.
But for Winnie, she's just kind of preparing to sing.
For Winnie.
Do you hear that?
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the three of spades. The first one that I met was a two of diamonds. The second one I met was a five of hearts, but I didn't feel my heart a burning till the three of spades came and swept me off my feet. Three of spades, three of spades, three of spades. She was all for me. Three of spades, three of spades. That was a flush for me. Three of spades, three of spades. Filled my house of cards. Three of spades, three of spades. I want you to be mine.
And let's go ahead and roll your 2d6 plus charisma.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll see actually if what Levin did up on stage with you helped or hurt the cause. So Levin, while Winnie was kind of singing this love ballad, what is it you were doing up there?
Well, for the first verse, I gotta be honest, I had no idea what was happening. And I was getting pretty excited watching Winnie. But as soon as we were creeping up on the chorus, I knew what was about to happen. I remembered hearing this song from 20 years ago before my day of death. I snatched up 2 soup spoons from the table nearest me, and I slap them with my hand, and I slap them on my knee. I love that song. It all came rushing back. They say music holds memories. And I played the spoons is what I did to help.
Yeah, and so I think that is very appropriate. I think you read the room well. This is a casual bar full of people with hard jobs. So yeah, the mix of kind of like really beautiful vocals and the choice of song and the playing of the spoons all mixes together well. So Winnie, whatever you rolled, add an additional +1 to it for Levin helping.
Yes.
I rolled a 7 plus 1 is 8.
All right, pretty good. So the crowd responds kind of enthusiastically. It's it was kind of a like a down home kind of love ballad. I mean, you're also pumping a lot of kind of like brave energies into it with your magic.
Mm-hmm.
And they're definitely going to feel the results of that when they return to their posts and forts. They will remember this night well.
I can't believe you even knew that song from the Mud Corner. I never even knew you'd been there.
I have traveled far and wide trying to learn songs from all walks of life.
So yeah, your kind of lexicon of songs is very deep, and kind of picking this one because it was one of Levin's favorites, or at least that's what you heard, worked out very, very well.
3 of spades. 3 of spades.
You spend the night, the rest of the night, Winnie, kind of chatting with all of the people that are now simultaneously coming up to both you and Gregory at the same time. So that takes up a good chunk of your time. Jelly, so this town where you're in is not so much of a town as it is kind of like a crossroads between a major north-south road and like a smaller east-west road. So there's kind of this Traveler's Tavern, another tavern, a rooming house, a market, and then some kind of farms around it. So, you don't have a terribly deep pool of underworld to deal with. But that said, you do have the skill of connections, and you can certainly roll it here to get some kind of sense about what's over the horizon tomorrow. So 2d6 plus your charisma. Tell me what you get.
All right, let's see. Connection. I got 8 plus charisma is 1, 9.
Okay. So, what is it you wanted to get or learn about buyer's remorse?
Oh, I really wanted to know, come the morrow as we embark on this journey, what would be the most likely sort of peril, or what is it that we really need to be preparing for in terms of our fortitude? Are we going to need any kind of are we going to have to be ready to fight, or to be very quick and clever?
So, because you got a partial success, you're gonna get an answer. Of all of those scenarios, what is the scenario you least want to happen?
I think a full-on physical violent brawl would be the least likely. I kind of could go for some sort of like puzzle, tricky, picking a lock. Like that's more so what I would want.
No, let's hit him. Right,
Okay.
Gregory?
So, fair enough. The kind of the story you get is that it is there's not going to be some orcish invasion or some Vorish counterattack. That's kind of the one thing you're able to kind of strike off the list of why this could happen. It would be news all over the Riverlands if, this war that's kind of been at this, not a stalemate, but this kind of frozen border with all forts and stuff. If that line of forts was breached, this would be huge news. So it's not that. That said, this is a town that's right on that frontier. And, the Vor take no claim of it. The Vorish take no claim. The Orcs take no claim. It's essentially a free city, or a free town. So what that means is it definitely doesn't seem like there's any kind of large-scale violence that you can expect. But what it also means is it could just be anything else. So the only thing you can take off the table is that you're going to walk into a literal war zone. You do get some other information that may or may not be terribly salient to you. You hear tell of the Silent Gatherer, who, the term is used for both a company or like a kind of a trading syndicate called the Silent Gatherer, as well as the person in charge of this syndicate, and that they can kind of get anything from anywhere. Like that's kind of the legend about them. And then beyond that, you also hear that this place does have it's a free town with no government kind of watching over it. Ostensibly, the elves are in charge, but they're folks from all over the continent there. And you can kind of get something of everything you want there.
What kinds of elves is it?
The kind of the elven, we haven't spoken much about kind of the elven presence on the continent. Most elves are forest elves that live in kind of forest towns and forest enclaves. It's like the concept of countries is not something the elves really subscribe to. It's really kind of more of a nation spread across the continent, though there is a big divide between the elves of the surface and then the deep elves, based on a rift centuries ago that drove elves kind of into the mountains where they come into direct conflict. So, these are kind of the hilly frontier lands. There are no mountains here. There aren't any deep elves within probably 100 miles. So it's most likely kind of elves of the grand collective of elves that live on the surface.
Okay, great. As long as we're not going to see that terrifying Yava again.
Yeah, Yava has been on your mind a lot.
Yeah, I did not like the way she looked at leaving Stevenson.
Indeed, it was kind of the first time you were truly unnerved since your rebirth. And that's a feeling you don't feel often, and you don't like it.
Creepo.
So, so kind of thusly girded with that information, you all kind of put down for the night, wake up, and travel fairly quietly to Buyer's Remorse. So Buyer's Remorse, as you all laid out, is this kind of weird, sprawling city in the middle of a depression. It looks like everybody is out on the. It's almost like the whole town is constantly out on the street. There are wagons just moving through huge clusters of people all the time. As you're kind of descending into this kind of depression or basin, you know, you're seeing really kind of weird things, like a wagon will come from the east and then stop between two buildings because it looks like they can't get through because of a crowd. But then the wagon will just stop and open up its sides and just become a store.
Wow.
So it's, you know, this big cluster of trade. You don't think food is the only non-interesting thing to trade here. You know, that food and supplies like that are constantly moving around, but everything else is vaguely exotic. Herbs and spices, smells you've never heard, cured meat and salted fish that you've never seen in your life, tapestries, heavy wools, thick cloth, things from the north and the east and the south and from across the bay. And there are whale bones here, just giant whale bones for some reason. So
what is a whale? I'm gonna smell everything.
Whoa, that's a whale collarbone.
Yes, it's pretty wild. Buddha leads you, and she kind of asks questions and ends up actually getting a fairly interesting piece of information. She essentially says, "I'm looking for the Silent Gatherer," and everyone says, "Oh yeah, she's in that building." So apparently the Silent Gatherer has not been kidnapped. There's no kind of danger. The Silent Gatherer is in residence. So you all go there. You kind of make your way through the crowd. You are constantly being sold things. And it's pretty wild. Okay.
Kelly, how many things have you stolen in the past 2 blocks?
13.
The kid steals?
Oh, yeah. I got these little Lilliputian pincers. Yeah,
Jelly, 2d6 plus your dexterity. Let's see if you got something of particular value.
Okay, I rolled a 4 plus 1 is 5.
Okay. So you, Jelly kind of vanishes from the group for a little while. Because there's literally like a jewel encrusted dagger that's like hanging low in a scabbard that Jelly just tries to grab, but that thing had some kind of magical protection on it, because you heard like a loud popping noise and then Jelly vanished for a little bit.
Oh no, this happened to me once. He's dead, everybody. Jelly's gone. I know this. This happens sometimes. We have to move on. We will mourn him later. Continue walking.
Why don't you
please.
just sacrifice your vessel and make a new one for him?
What? Why would I do that? I am not an idiot. Let's continue to find what's wrong.
Vil was very respected.
I'm so sorry. I always forget.
Is looking up at you, Levin, with absolute despondency.
Oh God, I hurt the bird's feelings.
Hobie,
yeah, so sorry. Oh
You need
gosh,
to stop talking right now.
it's a tough day for leaving.
Listen to me. You need to stop talking right now. Right now.
guys, let's not have infighting. Let's not have infighting. Levin, I understand you've been on a very tough journey.
So sorry.
let's just
Very
table this
sorry.
conversation for later.
Gregory looks really mad. I'm a little nervous to be alone with him. Can you stick by me, Winnie? Just
Sure.
You see Winnie, just for the briefest of moment, a fairly unreadable look on Gouda's face as she kind of observes all of this. And it kind of passes as soon as you see it. And, all of you eventually get to the front door of this. It's one of the larger buildings in town. It's almost like this long, house or barn. And much to Levin's relief, Jelly is in fact not dead, but covered in dirt and waiting by the front door.
Oh my god, I can't.
See?
What happened?
look, everybody, look
He's
at
fine.
that. He's fine. The kid's back.
It happened like this.
There's no sacrifice needed. Although, what an honor it would be to sacrifice
Jelly,
someone's
what
body.
happened?
Okay.
Well, I mean, I was going for this jewel encrusted dagger that was basically calling my name. It was like I wasn't the one with the agency in that dynamic. Clearly,
Yeah.
right? It's beckoning for the palm of my hand to grasp.
That was probably by design.
That's a good point. In retrospect, that actually adds up. That tracks, because what turned out, it actually I touched it and it threw me about 30 feet in the air, and I heard it laughing. There was a kind of a maniacal laughter that came forth from the blade. As I was launched in the air, I landed in a pile of, I believe it's a combination of manure and a soil. It seemed like it was for agricultural reasons.
Mm.
And so now I'm coated in that, and I think I rolled an ankle, but I'm very durable. Like I'm like a rubber. I have such a low center of gravity that I was able to hop back up, and I scurried on all fours for a moment, and then I got back up on all twos, and I ran the rest of the way here.
Well, you smell incredible. Is the bright
Really?
side
You like it?
so potent?
Yes,
really strong
literally
smells.
incredible. I do not believe it.
So you, there are kind of not guards, but there's essentially like a kind of like an administrator at the door of this place, and you talk your way in, and inside this building, it's teeming with activity. Shipments are being loaded up onto wagons. There's a whole row of tables where people are drying herbs. There are people, walking around with clipboards, kind of, getting a sense. This looks like a very large, very fruitful operation here. And then, you ask, hey, where's the Silent Gatherer? And they all point you to, a door in the back. And so you all go to it. Winnie, how many years has it been since you've seen your sister Lena?
Like 6, probably.
Okay, that changes now. Sitting at a large
What?
stone desk, poring over documents with a trio of clerks standing next to her, kind of meticulously writing things down, is your sister Lena. She looks at you, Winnie. You make eye contact. You both realize who the other person is, and her facial expression does not change in any way. She gives nothing away. And then she looks at the clerks and nods, and they all leave, and they close the door. And it's the four of you, plus Gouda, plus Hobie, who is standing respectfully next to Levin, and Lena, the Silent Gatherer.
You two look exactly alike. You know that?
We've been told that many times before.
That's so
Though I dare
crazy.
say my sister was always the more beautiful one.
Whoa. You could cut the tension with a jewel encrusted knife.
Sister,
Did you know about this?
No.
I know you didn't know, but shut up. Winnie.
My sister and I lost track of each other about 6 years ago. Mm.
Oh,
I didn't lose track of you,
oh,
Hi, Lena.
Winnie.
Hi, Lena.
Lena, I didn't know you got into this enterprise. It seems like you've been very successful. I'm happy for you.
Well, a number of years ago, I had to make a choice about whether to follow a dream I didn't think I could do anymore or make something of myself.
I'm glad that you have found success after the unfortunate circumstances of our previous meeting.
Gouda is not hiding her surprise here. Winnie, you know my supplier of herbs, and you look identical, and she is apparently your sister, yes?
Yes. Lena. I just want to say, Lena, that what I did when we last met, I did without the knowledge of the consequences. And if I could go back, I would do things differently.
Oh, like time travel.
This is about the shipments to Tower Town.
Yes.
I've found better business in the mountains of Marinth.
Better business. Oh.
Yeah.
The shipments that you have provided to Tower Town have done much good in the hands of Gouda here.
Yeah.
She's warm hands.
Smells good.
Okay. Well, as you can see, we're expanding. Perhaps there is enough for both Tower Town and my new buyer in the mountains.
Oh.
I think
Great.
there's plenty of space for both.
She is doing some good works as well. So
Wait.
perhaps I could restore our arrangement. But
who's your buyer in the mountain?
Leave it.
an elven cousin.
Tall woman, kind of piercing eyes, sort of creepy attitude towards certain people.
Are you talking about cousin Munayava?
Oh no! Wait.
This is a family business, after all.
Oh!
Her lineage split from ours a generation or two back, what with the great rift between the surface elves and the deep elves. One that, in our own way, we are trying to heal by reestablishing trade.
Winnie, how many more family members of yours are going to make trouble for us?
Probably none, unless you're traveling with family, Lena.
Whoa.
I didn't make the connection before now that Yava was Munayava, our cousin. I should have. It's been a while since we last gathered together.
Even after I
It's been a
spent
journey.
so long describing her haunting eyes.
You know, she's always been perfectly pleasant to me.
The schism that erupted in Elven society sundered many families.
Whoa, son.
And I think
Sundered?
most elves would be more than happy to leave it sundered. But let's talk to the matter at hand. You want shipments returned to Tower Town. I have enough inventory. I will do this, but Winnie, you must do something for me.
Sure.
I would like you to explain to Gouda exactly what you did to me.
Oh, gossip.
Family's the worst.
This is going to be so embarrassing.
So when Lena and I were younger, I was, of course, younger than her. She's my older sister. And we were very close when we were little. And I was always a little bit outshined for her. As you see, Lena had a lot of talent that I didn't. She was a wonderful musician. And as we got older, she decided that she was going to leave home to pursue her talents elsewhere. And so I had heard rumors of a powerful creature in the woods that could grant one's desires. And I begged her to make it so that my sister wouldn't leave. I unfortunately did not set many parameters around this request. And that night, we went home, and I slipped a potion that the woman had given me into Lena's drink, thinking it would change her mind or make her want to stay.
You killed her. You killed your own sister.
But she's alive here.
Right here. I didn't kill her.
Swear to fucking
Sorry.
When we woke up, I had her voice and she had mine. Her gift was now in my hands. It was a decision that I made out of desperation and love for my older sister. I did not want it to go this way. But unfortunately, it is due to my actions and my selfishness and my inability to let you, sister, lead your own life that I am now in the position that I am. I have tried to do good with this power and succeed in the ways that you would have and wish to. But
Winnie, come on. Didn't your parents ever tell you the mud crab claw? That's a classic mud crab claw story. The strange salesman sells the mud crab claw to the family, and they wish upon the mud crab claw, but then it turns out all wrong, and they want their son back, but everything turns out more creepier than it's supposed to. Winnie, this is the mud crab claw.
It's a pretty standard cautionary tale.
I didn't read much when I was younger. All of the songs that I know, I only know because my sister practiced them before me.
Wow. So you owe everything to her.
And she lost everything because of me.
Whoa.
That's why we haven't seen each other in many years.
And that's why you're writing that big song for the Knights of Prospect next week.
Oh.
So your deeds have finally risen to the level where the knights are going to invite you then.
Yeah. Yeah, they know her.
They are.
Well, they certainly know you a little better now, I would say.
I was a foolish child at the time. I didn't fully know what was happening, and I have tried to make the best of the circumstances. You know, I tried to find that woman in the woods afterwards, after I realized what happened, and I tried to pursue her, but she had gone. She had disappeared entirely, and the I couldn't find her back, which is why I left.
The mud crab claw.
I get it, Vil.
Ooh. Oh.
It's not my name.
Sorry. Oh, leaving. I get it.
After a heavy moment, Lena produces a piece of paper from a ledger, writes some things on it, slides it to Gouda, who reviews it in silence and nods and countersigns. There's an exchange of money. And once that's all done, Lena rings a bell and that door opens, and a couple of particularly burly clerks are standing in there waiting to escort you all out.
Lena?
Yes, Winnie?
I'd like to give you something. I reach into my backpack and I pull out my songbook. And I remove 3 pages of a song that I wrote, that I tried to write to heal what happened between us. I've come close to perfecting it, but you always had the better songwriting ability. I want you to have this. It's called Lena's Lullaby.
Okay, Winnie, here's how this is going to work. This act is going to represent a magical compact between you and your sister. Which means you have a choice. Option 1 is that you hand her these pages as a gesture of apology. Option 2 is that you are generally and specifically using your bardic powers to give her her voice back. Option 2 would do this. It would reduce your charisma to 0. It would increase your constitution by 2. And it would heal the rift between you and your sister. Option 1 or option 2?
Option 1 is empty gesture of apology. Option 2 is I heal the rift between me and my sister and I lose my song powers, but potentially gain strength. Oh. Or not strength, but resilience, I suppose. I do that. Option 2.
You hand her the pages and she takes them, and the rest of you, Gregory, Jelly, Levin, you all just kind of look at this transactionally. It's this gesture, but the second both of their hands are holding those pages, time seems to slow to a crawl. It gets very cold and then very warm in this room. You see Lena kind of go wide-eyed and a tear roll down her face, and she looks at you, Winnie, and you look at her. And after what seems like an age, she kind of nods and puts the pages into a desk drawer and takes a sip of water. Winnie, when time allows, I would like to come up to Tower Town and visit. I feel like you and I will have a lot of catching up to do.
I would love nothing more than that.
Gouda, I am pleased that we are returning to business. My shipments will be there very soon after you return. Gouda nods and leaves.
So, okay, so Winnie, you made this crazy sacrifice. You gave up all your powers. Vil gave up everything for somebody she didn't even know. And you, Gregory, you...
It wasn't for you. It was for Raz.
So this is the kind of sacrifice that you all want. This is what you can...
This is the very definition of sacrifice, yes.
And you want... Jelly, that's the kind of thing you... Gregory, that's what you feel...
Do you understand now? The type of sacrifice that was made that brought you here?
Mm.
Do you understand? But also, do you understand that right now, I don't feel like it's a sacrifice. I feel like it is a return to where we should be. And I know Vil felt similarly.
That's why you want to be knights, huh?
Do the hard thing.
That's what they think I'm going to do next week. Yikes.
And so we're going to end it right there. Good work, everybody.
Oh.
Winnie. Wow, Sam.
Well, had to be done.
Winnie, I have updated your character sheet. There is a new skill there that we will discuss later.
John wastes no time with that shit.
Right away.
Like, we get those character sheet updates like,
You just got to rip the
It was
band-aid
happening
off.
while I was looking in it.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Go ahead.
I love these real like thematic episodes we've been having lately.
Right?
I mean, you can, if you want to like wander the woods and kill cool stuff, you are always more than welcome to. But I'd
But
rather
you like those
make it a
hard
little harder
choices.
for you folks.
You
Oh
put
my
me so
gosh.
close to orc territory. There are any orcs around.
Well, that was up to Jelly. Based on Jelly's role, you could have walked into a war zone.
Yeah.
Poor Gregory.
I know.
Poor Gregory gets so close to orcs.
Enemy, even more fearsome family
And then-
drama.
Yeah. Instead, he just has to witness heartfelt family drama.
Oh.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, that's generally why people play role-playing games, is to dive into complicated family dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have an interesting feeling, Gregory, you're going to get your wish soon enough.
Ooh.
Anyway, speaking of plans for the future, thank you everybody for tuning in to Night of Prospect. This was our 22nd episode. If you want to catch up on the first 21 episodes, go to YouTube and look up Knights of Prospect. You can find our channel there. All 21 previous episodes are currently there. Also, if you like watching comedy on Twitch generally, well, good news. 2MB Studios, the channel that we are very happy to be on, has, if my math is right, a total of 27 shows in its rotation of comedy. Everything from game shows to entirely fictional wrestling shows made of fictional wrestlers to talk shows, morning and evening, to short form improv shows, long form improv shows, everything in between. So if all that sounds good to you, be sure to follow and subscribe to 2MB Studios.
Oh, that's
And
right.
while you, actually, Kaylee, do you have any shows you might want to plug?
I do. My new show is premiering on Monday, this coming Monday at 7 p.m. It's gonna be so fun, everybody. It is gonna be great. Thank you, Chauncey the Wizard. It's called That Sounds Right, and it's an educational game show where we will learn absolutely nothing, but we will laugh a whole lot.
Sounds like a good hook to me.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, it is our pleasure to adventure for you. Good night, and we will see you next week.